What's up, you guys? Sean Ross Sapp. It is March 11th, 2020, or as we come to know it, the night that the entire world died, or at least that's the way it seems. Leave a thumbs up, subscribe, tap that bell for notifications if you're watching live on youtube.com/Fightful. If you don't, I'm sure there's some way that you all can positively support us. I don't know, maybe subscribing to FightfulSelect.com, where I have a story up about a certain act that was taken off the road by WWE, and then WWE was like, we're not paying you, which is very, very interesting. That is up at FightfulSelect.com, as is the List Goes On podcast and our Q&A show, which drops this week. I'm going to answer probably over 100 questions tomorrow on Fightful Select, tomorrow being Thursday. So check it out. It's a good time. But if you want to ask a question or have your statement read on the air during the Wednesday Night War podcast, donate a super chat. If you're watching live, I am joined by Mr. Warren Hayes, who you all can see on Friday nights. You can see him on his channel. Warren, how you doing?
I'm doing very well. I'm very secure knowing that no Europeans are going to come coughing over my way. No, I'm in Canada. It doesn't matter. Y'all can come here and cough all you like.
And Alex Pawlowski, you can see his episodes of Sour Graps every week. Alex, how you doing?
Just thankful this is a souped up flu and not, the zombie virus, because it does feel like the beginning of the movie where everyone's in a panic and things are getting canceled and famous people are getting sick. You better not take Tom Hanks from us, coronavirus.
What about Rudy Gobert, that fucking moron? Pardon my language. I'm telling you, the last 2 weeks, I have cursed more on the air than in years. And it's the world, man. But here we go. One word, Alex. Who won, AEW or NXT?
NXT, I don't know.
Warren?
AEW. I have a little more confidence in my assessment here.
I'll be honest, I was taking a big shit during the show, so we're going to start off with NXT tonight. I like the way that NXT ended a lot more than AEW, though I'm told that there is a good angle coming next week. But let's go ahead and talk NXT. Keith Lee, Cameron Grimes. Man, people had a field day when I accidentally tweeted Trevor Lee versus Cameron Grimes. People were like, oh, Sean, they're the same person, didn't you know? Yeah, I know. Keith Lee defeated Cameron Grimes to retain this title, and I love the hat play. I love it. You had to get heat on the hat, and we bring it up as a joke often, but you had to get heat on the hat, Alex.
Well, the thing is that we bring it up as a joke, but we're not the only ones who notice it. Like it's a major plot point of Grimes's character. They play with it a lot, so it's a thing now. Like it's a thing, as Matt Riddle would say. Now it's a thing. So that's what they're doing with that, and that's fine. I think obviously the right guy won. Grimes looked good in certain spots, so they're keeping him looking viable as a future contender. But I also love the ending, the way that they play with it, with Priest attacking Keith Lee from behind with his nightstick, and Dijak coming to the rescue, and Keith Lee saying, "I have no friends. Just because we were teammates back in November in some match doesn't mean we're buddies. So you don't touch my title or I spirit bomb your ass." I think it's a really interesting way to play with the nuance of Keith Lee not taking guff from anybody.
Yeah, I agree. And if you want to give somebody your nightstick from behind, if you want things to be gruff, if you want to hit somebody's ass with a spirit bomb, check out BlueChew.com, code Fightful. That's a free one for you guys. Super chat from Tim Traver. He says, I haven't felt my best in the past few days. That is concerning, buddy. Go to a doctor immediately. Shane Haas says, have you heard anything else about other shows being moved to the Performance Center? And fuck Rudy Gobert. Yes, indeed, fuck Rudy Gobert. That shit is lame, what he did. I've still got to catch up on all that, but I haven't heard that yet, but that is always an option for them. And Warren, I think that's a pretty good option for them at this point in time.
Sure, and it changed the atmosphere of the whole show tonight. It felt fresh, felt different. Dare I say, even a little more intimate because, not everything was sort of very dark as in the usual NXT way. You could see the setup, but then again, when you realize what happened later on, well, you sort of had to really get invested in the locale. You had to understand where you were. Otherwise, the payoff at the end wasn't going to be quite as successful.
Yeah, man. So after the match, Lee celebrates before he's attacked and laid out by Damian Priest, as we had mentioned. Dijakovic comes out to the rescue, and we set all that stuff up. It really does seem like that North American Championship title picture is almost like the sirloin beef sons of bitches that can work division, and I'm okay with that. And also, I'm okay with that because I believe that Cameron Grimes would believe that he's a sirloin beef sons of bitch.
That's true. He does come across as that kind of guy who believes he's a foot taller and 100 pounds heavier than he really is.
And his former partner, Andrew Everett, that's we practically run the same tall gimmick right now. I mean, his thing is very tall, Andrew Everett. We have a qualifying ladder match, or a qualifying match for the ladder match. I love that they're doing this. They should have done this for Elimination Chamber. Mia Yim versus Dakota Kai. I have been outspoken about having my questions about Mia Yim in the ring. This one was very good. She won Mia hit Kai with Eat Defeat and turns back around, got the pin. I like this. Raquel attacked after the match. Oh, man. I like this. I thought this was pretty solid. I just like having stakes, Alex.
Oh, me too. The thing about it also is, at this point, we haven't seen a loser of a qualifying match that I would say has no business being in a ladder match for a number one contendership. Like, in the Elimination Chamber, you had a bunch of people who were like, I don't think this is a viable contender. Even if they were somehow to win this match, they should not have a title match. They haven't deserved it. All of these women are incredible competitors. Yeah, you're going to have 12 people like lining up for a 6-woman ladder match, and all 12 of them are going to be top to bottom. Great. You have Shotzi Blackheart, who loses the match. You have Deonna Purrazzo, who they insist on booking like crap, but she's great. You have all these people who are losing their matches that are also very, very good. I think that they're obvious. It seems to me they're setting up for a couple of singles matches between formerly Reina Gonzalez and Mia Yim, which is a great pairing. Like, it's going to get Gonzalez a lot of much needed TV time and reps that way, and she's going to be working with Mia Yim, who has no shortage of that. And that'll be a really, really good thing for both of them, I think.
Up next, we had Kushida and Raul Mendoza. Boy, did I love this finish. A good old flying armbar from the top rope. Jesus, man. I used to give it to all my creator wrestlers on the old SmackDown games. And it was funny. It was like the least damaging top rope move you could do. I was like, come on now. But this ruled, man. Kushida's finish did. Glad to see him getting a win. This was harmless. I mean, I don't get the feeling they've got any major plans for Kushida, but I'm just glad that we get to see him picking up a win here and there. Alex, anything on this?
Yeah, the thing is that they can do whatever they want with Kushida at a moment's notice. You tell me you wouldn't want to see a pissed off like Keith Lee who takes no prisoners because he's got no friends versus Kushida in a match? Like, I'd love to see that. Sure, why not? Do that. That could be a lot of fun. But the thing about this, that what comes out of this is Raul Mendoza, who his speciality across both NXT and 205 Live is looking great in defeat. That's what he does. That's the thing that he does. That's his MO. And so he does that again here. But the big thing is coming out later where he gets abducted and thrown into a van by two masked men in suits. Like, I can't wait to see the stable they're creating out of all these guys they're going to start abducting. I'm looking forward to this storyline immensely.
Kushida was brought in, and, I mean, when I heard stories of him not having a locker for several months, that was kind of concerning to me in general. But, like, the fact that more hasn't been done with him is weird because he's one of the best workers in the world, man. Just one of the best. I'll tell you something that I really enjoyed. This little setup for Tyler Breeze and Austin Theory. Now, Austin Theory's got a way to go for his acting skills. But he comes in and he was like, man, I was watching you on Breaking Ground when I was in high school. And that was like 4.5 years ago. Tyler Breeze takes a picture of Austin Theory, and Austin's like, "Did you take a picture of me?" And he's like, "Yeah, you look pretty good for a flash in the pan." It's like, damn, that's pretty good. Warren, these little setups, like it took a minute, and they set it up, and I was like, that's all I need. I have a reason for them to fight each other now.
Wait, are you telling me you don't need 15-minute segments week after week? Are you telling me you don't need a drawn-out love triangle? Are you telling me you don't need someone to go hang around in an empty stadium to get interested for a match, Sean? Are you telling me that just two people can look at each other and decide to fight each other because fighting each other is what they're paid to do? Is that what you're telling me?
It's wild. It's wild. We go to the ring where Rhea Ripley comes out, says that Charlotte needs a new game plan, and that she gets through the pressure of facing Charlotte at WrestleMania by knocking Charlotte on her ass. Well, Charlotte comes out, walks down the ramp. This leads to some heated back and forth. She says she's going to drag Rhea into deep water and drown her. And Rhea rushes her, and I love this attack. Charlotte applies the figure 4 around the ring post. That is such a tried and true move, Alex. Yep. I remember seeing Bret Hart do it 2 decades ago, and or more than that, 23 years ago. And it was so good, and it's still so good.
It's still fantastic. It's one of those classics. It'll never go out of style. As long as they don't overuse it, when that thing comes around, you're immediately transported back, as you say, 2 decades to the time when wrestling was real, and it's a really great thing to put over these 2 younger women they put them in the same stratosphere as legends of the past. It feels right to see that kind of thing. And that's great. Obviously we have no idea what's going to go on with the whole Mania stuff and the build and all that kind of crap. I'm looking forward to seeing where they go with this. Beyond this, but it is very encouraging to me that they are building Rhea Ripley in the way that they are and making her on the level of a Charlotte Flair, where Charlotte Flair would need to resort to an around the ring post figure 4 to make her statement. That's good. It's a good sign.
Can I jump in for a quick sec?
Yes.
Thank you. I was getting a little bored with the build up to Rhea versus Charlotte, because it really felt to me like it was a contest of who can be more smug, sharing as they were in the ring with each other. And I personally did not like. I made a little light of it here, but I'm going to make a lot of light of it, underscore it here. I really didn't like the Rhea Ripley empty arena segment with going back and I've been ever since I was a little girl I've been working towards doing things, and this is not why we got into Rhea Ripley when she was brought to NXT and stood nose to nose with Shayna Baszler. She's supposed to be a badass. She's not supposed to care. She's supposed to be on the offensive here. I'm not digging the way they're going towards this, especially on Raw. This was a good saving grace moment, but I'm anxious as to how they're going to build this match on main, which, if we're being completely honest with each other, is where it matters ultimately, because that is the main viewing audience. I'm really anxious as to how this is going to go, because as it stands right now, this is not the Rhea Ripley that we should be seeing. She should be grittier. She should be angrier, hungrier than this. She's just too smug. Everyone's too smug in this one.
Yeah, that's how they treat baby faces, though. They got to be just a little bit clever and it doesn't make them very likable.
Yep.
We get a video package for NXT United Kingdom champion Walter, where Finn Balor says that he's different, but it feels familiar, and he holds his passport up. Well, do I have some unfortunate news for him? The hilarity of this timing, and I get it. Before all of you,
Well, actually, Sean, the travel ban is only for 30 days and does not involve the UK. Oh.
I can make a fucking joke!
He's got props too. You're the new Gallagher.
Yeah, damn. Oh, I'm going to go off about one later on because people got so weenie-fied over a Bea Priestley thing. We come back to Mia Yim outside in the parking lot where she almost gets run over before men get out of an SVU in masks and abduct Raul Mendoza. Now, I don't plan on ever learning who these people are if the Samoa Joe TNA storyline gives us any indication. Who do you think kidnapped Raul Mendoza? Who would want to kidnap Raul Mendoza? The Dark Order?
I hope it's King Cuerno.
God, I hope so too.
For Lucha Underground. Like him, like being a masked, besuited luchador who's forcibly conscripting other dudes from Mexico into his ranks, and he shows up with a brainwashed Raul Mendoza, and I don't know who else he'll wind up grabbing from the ranks. Like, that's awesome. That's an amazing way to introduce King Cuerno, El Hijo del Fantasma, I believe is what he was called in Impact.
And he looked way more badass as King Cuerno than Fantasma with that weird flippy hair hanging out of the back. None of that.
Here's the thing: if you don't know King Cuerno, he has without a doubt the best suicide dive that has ever existed. The arrow from the depths of hell is what they called it. Like that man flew. Like, he's an amazing athlete. I really loved his style, the way he worked in Lucha Underground. So he's supposed to be starting on the house shows. I'm really hoping this is an angle to introduce him, because that would be really sweet.
Tegan Nox defeated Deonna Purrazzo in another qualifying match. Again, grabbed the hose, poured all over me. That's what I want. I want these qualifying matches. It's such a layup. Give me a reason to care. Also, fucked over Deonna Purrazzo. They signed her 2 years ago. She was one of the most, maybe the most booked female wrestler in America at that point. By match number 8, she was working Impact pay-per-views. She worked everywhere. They signed her up. And
she was La Luchadora, for Christ's sake.
Yeah, for the love of God. I think she would probably rather be that by now, but I like Tegan Nox. I'm not saying she should have beat Tegan Nox at all.
No. It's a weird deal. They obviously planned to debut Chelsea Green and Deonna Purrazzo as a unit, as a tag team. And for whatever reason, they went away from that. I think this is probably when they had plans to actually use the women's tag titles on all three brands. But obviously they have shelved those plans. But Deonna Purrazzo and Chelsea Green absolutely would have been a fantastic matchup for the Kabuki Warriors in an NXT match. That'd be great.
Yeah.
But instead, you got Deonna Purrazzo losing matches. Chelsea Green's iffy in this whole Robert Stone thing. So who knows? But Deonna Purrazzo is better than what she's been booked as, but the right person won this match.
I'm going to ask around more about if there were plans for Deonna and Chelsea. There's got to, they had them featured in almost an NXT TakeOver-ish spot.
Remember when they released all those ugly shirts?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. They had one that was for Chelsea and one that was for Deonna in the same font. Mm-hmm. It was the exact same design. One that was a C, one that was a D. They were obviously going to debut them together in some way.
Yeah. NXT Tag Team Championship match. The Broserweights defeated Undisputed Era. I did not get to catch the majority of this match, but I did get to catch Riddle and Dunn outsmarting Undisputed Era, which is such a cute spot for them. And considering that they're the fun, I don't want to say the fun-loving, but they've had almost those comedic skits along the way. I kind of dug that. The Broserweights end up retaining their NXT tag titles. What do you think about this one, Alex?
Well, this is great. This is the you could absolutely say that they were in deep water before the grizzled young veterans decided to come down and show themselves in their suits and their no socks. It's interesting. Like I'm looking forward to seeing how all this pairs out. I'm assuming if we get a TakeOver Tampa, we're going to have a triple threat, which I would be totally down for. They successfully won. They're great. I love all the shit together. The little tiny vignette they had of them prepping for the match backstage with Riddle like jumping around like a little happy puppy and just Pete Dunne calmly taping his wrists while rolling his eyes at Matt Riddle. It's great. They're a fantastic little odd couple. They'll always be fun to me.
The close of this show was, by the way, anything else to add on the tag title match?
No, I mean, I think absolutely this was great.
Yeah.
UE versus Riddle and Dunne is always going to be great. Give me more of them.
After the match, it's announced that NXT champion Adam Cole is going to have a celebration next week, and we're also getting a qualifying match between Candice and Mercedes, which I love that. We're told that Finn Balor will be on NXT UK tomorrow afternoon, and Tommaso Ciampa shows up. This leads to, I thought, a great brawl. When you compare this brawl to the brawl that we won't spoil on AEW, man, this was so good. I like. They don't always have the opportunity to use the Performance Center like this. They've done Performance Center brawls before, but they haven't had the opportunity to do a lot of brawls. Though, what I'm hearing is, in the coming weeks, they may have an awful lot of opportunities to do some Performance Center brawls on many different nights of the week. But I thought this was good. Throwing that plate and breaking that mirror. Oh, that was cool. The lockers, I mean, that belonged to somebody because you got people changing on the damn floor at this point. I loved this brawl, Alex. I thought it was really good.
I thought it was great. I love the starts out with Johnny thinking he's being clever by having his promo to Ciampa via satellite from down the hall, and Ciampa's like, "No, we're not going to do this. I'm going to come find you, okay?" And then the brawl starts in the conference room, destroys a laptop and some drywall. It goes to the training room, into the weight room. Johnny Gargano puts Ciampa's all the way through the plate glass in a door, and they use it as a transitional move. That's the way brawls usually end. There was 10 more minutes of brawl after that. This thing was insane. I loved it. I think it shows how much these guys hate each other, but we kind of knew that already. And while not knowing where this is going from here, it does feel like it felt like like a lot of finality to it, especially with the air raid crash off the elevated platform through the announce table. This feels like, wow, okay, well, I guess we're not going to see these two guys anymore between now and TakeOver Tampa if it happens.
Yeah, and the thing is, they've got to buy a little bit of time until that show. And there's a lot of programs that I'm like, damn, it felt like a lot of programs recently have had their go-home angles already, and I'm like, what are they going to do? Will they do the 1 week little video thing? Like, how will they stretch that out? I guess we'll see. Kristen Ashley says, I defer to the first actual question in the chat. I don't know what that is. You'll have to send it to me. There's a whole lot of questions there, so just drop that in there, and I'll answer it. But I'm answering a ton of questions on FightfulSelect.com this week, guys. Also, I think we're filming one with Jimmy Van this week, maybe. He's overdue for one. So, gosh, it's there's just a lot of stuff going on Fightful Select right now. People keep saying, like the next one there. I don't know. I just send the question is all I can say because I can't scroll through the chat. And we're kind of speeding through this show, so we're going to talk about AEW momentarily. But, Alex, as we head into TakeOver, is there anything you see like kind of rounding out the card?
Well, I mean, obviously you have, it seems to me that they might be doing 2 triple threats, one for the tag titles and one for North American title. I feel like Dijak and Priest are probably going to face Lee, and you got Grizzled Young Vets and UE versus the Broserweights. That women's ladder match, they've only announced Mercedes and Candice, so I don't know who's facing. Let's say, is Io Shirai going to be in it? Mm-hmm. Is Bianca Belair? Probably. Like, it's all these, but we haven't seen them for a while, so we don't really know who they're facing to get into it. I'm assuming there's going to be one, like, funny upset, like somebody who we don't think is going to get in, and upsets to get in. But I'm assuming they're going to go back to like a 5-match takeover, and that's it, or maybe not. Is the cruiserweight title going to be offended on it, or is that like an NXT UK thing now, since Devlin's got it? I'm not really sure, but I am looking forward to all of this, and obviously Cole versus Dream for me is the money match. I can't wait for that.
Okay, now I understand what Kristen was saying. The next one after her chat, she says, Alonzo Smith says, "Why are they running back Gargano versus Ciampa again? These two just can't stay away from each other." I do kind of feel like it is overkill at times.
Well, it does feel like, because of the way Ciampa said, if I'm going to be here in NXT, Johnny Gargano can't be. It does feel like they might be doing a loser leaves NXT match.
And I think that'd be okay, considering the circumstances. But we probably know Ciampa's winning this because he ain't leaving.
No.
He ain't leaving. My God. We have AEW Dynamite this week. I thought it was pretty solid show. There's some good heat on this show as well. We start off with highlights of Inner Circle's attack on Moxley. Tony Schiavone interviewed Hangman Page. The Bucks showed up and told him that he would never team with Mac Jackson before walking away. Then we go to Ortiz versus old Neck Tat Cody. If we had a video game and Cody Rhodes was rated like a 94 on the game, Neck Tat Cody is like an 81. Like, you lose 14, Cody. I'm sorry. You lose 14. Cody ends up winning. Fine match. Also, I love, if you're doing this, Cody locks on a figure 4. He gets a win with it. Warren, what do you think about that?
I love that. I love the fact that we can defer from the finisher once in a while. Makes the finishers feel a little more special, right? Makes them feel a little more fun when they do pop up, get the extra little reaction. I thought this was a really solid match as well. Ortiz worked really, really well with Cody. I liked the way that he, the story of the match where he was working the leg. It was a Cody match, so there's a lot of story to it. Appreciated the lack of overall shenanigans or having like 6 million people stick their nose in the match. I thought it helped the flow a lot not to do it. I got a good laugh. Well, we didn't talk about the arrival. I'm going to let you go to it if you want.
No, go ahead. Hey, you're filling in the details here.
Okay, because we saw Jake Roberts arrive with what is very likely his client, Lance Archer, and they sat at ringside, and that was cool. And man, okay, first and foremost, I love how Tony Schiavone was referring to Lance Archer as a young man, saying, I love how the young guys of AEW are going over to these veterans. He's 43 years old. He's been in the business for almost 2 decades.
I was watching his homeboy on Fox Sports 1 15 years ago.
There you go.
Here's the thing, man. You forget how goddamn big Jake the Snake Roberts is until he's standing next to the monster, Lance Archer, and there ain't that much difference there. And I'm like, damn, not even some osteoporosis shrunk him down or anything a little bit? Like, damn, the dude's old.
And he's huge. I didn't realize it either, just how big he was. And at some point, Archer wants to jump the ramp, but Roberts holds him back. Yeah. And I don't know if you guys picked this up here, but JR, basically to give motivation as to why Lance wanted to attack Cody, said he saw a piece of meat in those gold tights, and I'm like, no. I know what you were trying to do, JR, a dog being I get it, but it just came out weird. And I really appreciated how much Jake Roberts seemed so comfortable and seemed to enjoy what he was doing. He was emoting, he was talking, was playing the part. he really seemed to be enjoying what he was doing. So that also warms my cold Canadian heart.
Last week was a great start, a great kickoff for him in that regard. And you know what? They could do a lot worse than having Jake the Snake Roberts cutting promos for Lance Archer. So I like that. And I also like the fact that Jake Roberts is cutting these promos, but it's not just Lance Archer standing back there with his arms folded behind Jake that you see with so many things like this. Like he's able to emote, and he's able to converse and do all these things as well. And I hope he brought his plastic bag with him. Hope he did that. That was one of my favorite spots of the year, the suffocation. I'll tell you a spot that I loved, this backstage attack, because Nick Jackson was kept out of last week's show. And I got to say, like, it's the little things that really just add to this. And the fact that Nick Jackson had this roll down door on his face and wasn't moving. I mean, didn't move at all. He wasn't wiggling. He wasn't shaking. He wasn't doing anything. They just had blood rolling out of his mouth.
It was a little.
It was so like subtly over the top. I'm like, damn it, man. But it's not something that I see a lot of. And one of my favorite things was that when the Elite all run backstage, they started to pull on him, and Cody's like, no, don't touch him. Don't touch him. Because that's what you're supposed to do. You do not touch him. Obviously, you pull the door off of him, but you don't touch him.
Yeah.
That was a good touch, I thought.
Yeah, I liked it too. There was something, like you said, not completely over the top, but just absurd enough to be just perfectly pro wrestling. You know, it was just it was fine. I liked it. You know, and I hope Matt's not really. I hope Nick's not exactly really murdered.
Yeah, I hope not too. I rather like the guy. I think he's pretty good. He gets loaded up in the ambulance. This is all to build towards blood and guts, obviously. Well, they got a lot more women on the show tonight, which I'm very, very happy about. Chris Statlander and Hikaru Shida take on Nyla Rose and Bea Priestley. Nyla and Bea get the win. And the pin is on Shida, who is ranked number 1, which they made a point of. But Priestley, she's not been in AEW since December, hasn't been on Dynamite since November, attacks Nyla Rose and poses with the championship belt. And I had posted on Twitter, like, I don't know how I feel about them taking a woman who hasn't been on Dynamite and propelling her towards a title shot. And I had all the people.
She doesn't actually have a title shot.
I know. I watched the show. I can react moment to moment on Twitter. That's like the point of live tweeting. You can react. It doesn't mean, oh my God, I'm reporting she's next in line for a title shot. I'm just saying, I would like for her to get a couple wins here and there. Wouldn't have even minded if it were tonight. But if they're setting it up by having her go after Nyla, I kind of understand that. But I as things stand now, I think it kind of would have been cool if Bea Priestley got the win. People are like, hey, there she is. I remember her. Then she beat the shit out of Nyla, and then she's like, I didn't even need Nyla. That AEW Women's Champion, I didn't even need her to beat these two. I could have done it on my own. But I guess we'll see how it unfolds. Until then, I'm just going to get just pissed on Twitter. Like, that's it. That's it. Go ahead, Warren. Say your piece.
Well, I mean, you know, I completely agree with your booking, because I thought it made... just because of what happened after, I felt it would have made more sense for her to do exactly that. You're going to get you're going to get some damage from certain fans, because, you know, she's a Stardom girl. The Stardom people are very protective of their women, and that's just how it goes. But that being said, I mean, what are you going to do with Nyla? Okay, first and foremost, Hikaru Shida is unquestionably the most consistently great women's wrestler in AEW right now. She goes out. She has consistently good matches. She is the natural shoe-in for a proper feud, a proper championship feud with Nyla. Is that where you turn to immediately when your pay-per-view is 3 months down the line? Because honestly, at this point, this is your next high-ranking pay-per-view women's championship match. You keep Shida and Nyla fresh for the next pay-per-view, but it's in 3 months. So what do you do with Nyla in the meantime well, you do have to pull some stuff out. You can't go back to Statlander. What, you're going to do? Leave a Bates? You know what I mean? I understand, Priestley just is back out of nowhere, but hey, it could be a lot worse, and she's going to be a proper contender. She's going to be a proper contender for the title as well. So they're kind of backed into a corner at this point because they don't have the depth really to go dive in. And we'll see in a little later on this evening, they're setting up like a secondary women's feud, which I'm completely okay with.
Yeah.
So yeah, they have to mix things up a little bit. I understand what they're doing here. They'll build Nyla to be even stronger so that the Sheeta feud does mean something.
We see a video package. It's a mock video package. Christopher Daniels with Dark Order sucks mock things, and he challenges Stu Grayson and Evil Uno to matches, like anywhere along the line, and says that once the Exalted One doesn't show up, well, then they'll see that they're full of shit. I'm cool with that. I think that makes sense. It's an easy way to set up a couple matches. He says he'll do it anywhere, pay-per-view, TV, dark, and that sets up one for any of those. So I dig that. Alex, sure. They've really extended this Dark Order storyline out. How you feeling about it right now?
I just want them to say whether it's Matt Hardy or not. Like, I'm sorry, like I don't really care about the Dark Order, like, at all. I liked a few of the original video packages. The fat guy who got indoctrinated and all that stuff. I thought that was clever. I really haven't been into anything they've done recently. The existence of the Exalted One, like who that is going to determine whether or not I'm ever into them again. Like, if it's Matt Hardy and he does a really cool stuff with it, great. If it's somebody else who's really great at it, fantastic. If it's a wah wah, like I'm kind of done with the Dark Order kind of forever. Like, yeah, they could, tell me who it is. Like, I want to know soon.
They can be amazing in the ring too. I saw them in Toronto and a number of times at AEW, obviously, and they're very good. Rob Wilkins sends a super chat. By the way, you guys, send yours. I'll read your question or statement on the air. He says, a lot of sad people tonight because of the NBA. Want to try to make people laugh. Gobert has to get the Defensive Player of the Year because he shut down the league. Oh, man. That got Offensive Super Chat of the Year. That's for sure. MJF, Butcher, and the Blade defeat the Jurassic Express. MJF gets the win with a submission on Marco Stunt, and that's good heat. That's just the easiest heat to get, Warren. And they were building heat all throughout this match. I thought it was good. It was effective, and MJF is the belle of the ball right now. He's the one in this that you're looking to get over, and it doesn't hurt to have Butcher and the Blade winning a match here and there as well.
Mm-hmm. I thought this match ruled. I thought it was fun from top to bottom, and it had so much heat.
MJF doesn't get nearly as much credit as he deserves for being a good worker.
No, he doesn't. And just the heat that the Jurassic Express guys, who still managed to stay over despite losing all the time, which still boggles my mind. Everything worked here. It was so good. Yeah, I mean, it was a fun wrestling match. You even had the referee. You had Aubrey Edwards kick MJF's arm at some point to break out of a reverse sharpshooter that the Butcher and the Blade were helping him with. Like, it had all the elements for the crowd to get into it. You had Marco Stunt getting angry, getting pissed off, and shoving Jungle Boy. Everything worked. Everything connected, but you had all the right elements here. You had MJF, who was legitimately now a heat magnet, which I didn't think he was at first. Now I feel he is. You had the Jurassic Express. My God, Jungle Boy had another crazy hot tag. And you know what I like about and here's the thing about Marco Stunt that I don't understand why people get so upset about him. It takes a lot for people to sell Stunt's offense.
Yes.
Stunt would do things tonight and people would no-sell it. Jungle Boy goes to do a dive to the outside and Stunt is like, no, let me do it. He does it, Well, Butcher and the Blade catch him. And then Jungle Boy does the dive to go. I don't know what the problem is with Stunt. Honestly, they're booking him. They're not booking him overpowered.
But let's be real.
Smart.
Most of the people that complain about what he does have never actually watched a full match. They've seen a picture or clips or something stupid like that. That's usually how it works, and that's just the unfortunate. I mean, the thing is, with wrestling, you have so much goddamn content anymore that you can't, even if you want to watch all of it. But it's like that. I remember when he debuted at Janela's show, or he didn't debut there, but he may have had a coming out party there. And it was perfect. He was basically a fan in the crowd who happened to get picked out as a bully. They threw him up in the air, and he had a big code breaker, and the place went nuts. And he was over from that moment on, and he's been over ever since. And he's not done anything to not be over. Like people,
and it's not as if. Sorry, go ahead.
No, go on.
No, it's because it's not as if he's on this winning streak. He's losing all his matches all the time. He's the weak link of Jurassic Express. Someone was pointing out to me earlier this week when I was watching Dark, because Jurassic Express scored a win. But someone pointed out to me and said, well, it's because Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus wrestled. You put Stunt in the mix and they lose. I'm like, you're probably right. And we had more proof about it tonight. Stunt was on the team. He was an active wrestler. The team lost.
Up next, we see a Darby Allin video airing. What was this? Alex, did you see this?
What was this? The Darby Allin?
Yeah.
Darby Allin, man, I love anything they do outside the arena with black and white. I'm into it. Listen, of course it's ridiculous, but I was super into the original visual of the paper Jericho mask with the eyes like clumsily cut out.
Good God!
It was like, listen, it's different. I'm here for different to begin with. If it ends up sucking afterwards, at least they shot their shot. You know what I mean?
Let me tell you.
It's not the same old crap.
Coming from a guy who has hundreds of paper masks of himself floating around the earth, speaking of, look over Warren's left shoulder at any given time. It ain't that different.
His gimmick now, essentially, Darby Allin, is Netflix crime drama serial killer, and I love the ending here where he's pulling a corpse around like he's Ray Traylor with Big Show's father.
Yeah.
I thought it was fantastic.
Tony Schiavone interviews Britt Baker, who mocks the people of Utah. You might want to get the hell out of Utah, based on what Rudy Gobert was doing. Says she wants to shake things up, and she starts giving everybody in attendance an inspirational speech while mocking them. Says that she wants to be everybody's role model. Big Swole comes out, says all that Baker does is talk all the time. Baker says the only one in Swole's household fans care about is her boyfriend. Swole says she's married, baby, mocking Adam Cole. Obviously, I don't want to say obviously, a lot of you all might not know, Big Swole is married to Cedric Alexander. I thought that was a real good shot from Britt Baker, who her boyfriend is Adam freaking Cole. You're going to see him heavily featured on Wednesdays. Big Swole's husband, you're probably not going to see at all. So I thought that was a really good, like, delusional line for her to give. I thought this was good. Also, I want to get a quick one line from Alex. Alex, how do you feel about AEW using Cedric Alexander better than Raw is?
Depressed.
There we go. That's what I'm going to start doing to make sure you all get involved. I'm going to do, instead of one-word reviews, I'm going to do one-word reactions to segments. Warren, your thoughts on this one?
This segment ruled. It just ruled. Britt Baker's on a roll, man. Everything she did with Schiavone and Big Swole, everything, the lines, the comebacks, everything was perfect. Swole, super comfortable in her promo as well. Very natural. Didn't seem forced. Loved the comeback as well. And I liked how Yeah, at some point I'm like, are they actually arguing over Tony Schiavone's friendship? Do they both are they struggling to be his friend? Because Swole basically says, Tony doesn't really like you. But Britt is like, what? What do you mean he Of course he likes me. And Schiavone's like in the middle. He's like, yeah, I don't know. He's sort of like, well, I don't want to be an accessory to whatever's going on here. I thought this was a great segment, and I like it because it's setting up a secondary women's feud here outside of the title. Build more women, give them more room. Clearly, two good talkers. Let them go at it. I'm good with this.
I am too. You need secondary feuds. You need feuds that aren't for the title. You need this.
Mm-hmm.
The Death Triangle defeats Joey Janela and Private Party. Warren. I mean, you kind of saw it coming when the Death Triangle came out because
sure.
They also attack until best friends make the save. How'd you feel?
This was a fine match. There was nothing wrong with it. I thought it was a lot of fun. I like I like that the Death Triangle already are trying some triple team offense here. They did a spot where Pentagon power bombs. I think it was Isaiah Cassidy power bombs Pac onto like a backstabber, and then Phoenix jumps off with a coup de grace on the backstabber. It was pretty cool. Not quite perfectly timed yet, but let's give the guys time to get used to each other. I'm completely behind this pairing here. All three of the Death Triangle felt aggressive. They were all like on the same level, as if they all sort of got imbued with this Pac's disgust with the world. I really liked it. I liked how this went. And if AEW is not going to give us Phoenix versus Pac, well, I'm okay with them putting them in a tag team where they're gonna beat up some dudes together. I'm completely okay with that.
And I think eventually we see it whenever the inevitable split happens. I mean, these guys are nowhere near the end of their careers, fortunately.
Oh, no, for sure.
Lexi interviews Dustin Rhodes, who says he's pissed off after the attack on Nick Jackson. Says somebody has to step up, and he'll team with Hangman Page tonight. Underwhelming. All due respect to Dustin, I love Dustin Rhodes. I think he's awesome. I'm glad he's there. We'll talk more about that momentarily. We see videos of those auditioning for Sean Spears' tag team partner, included Anthony Bowens, who I love. I love Anthony Bowens. They did a long-form feature on him. Some good stuff out of that. Warren, I like what they're doing with Sean Spears and that they brought him in. He had a featured role, and he's not winning right now. But in him putting over other people, they have a constant running storyline.
Sure.
That keeps him in your mind's eye. It lets you know Sean Spears isn't the reason why these teams have been losing. It's been everybody else. That's why he keeps losing.
Exactly. It's everybody else. And like it felt like he transitioned to the tag team division because, this is where the real opportunities are. And like you said, he's losing, but he hasn't found the right fit yet. Brandon Cutler wasn't it, of course.
Colin Delaney.
Yeah, exactly. So going out there and I mean, what a great social media bit that they're doing at the same time with this. It's brilliant, actually. It's brilliant on that level as well. And like you said, keeping Sean Spears active. Tully Blanchard at the same time, because Tully Blanchard is clearly orchestrating all of this.
Yeah.
I dig it. It all makes sense, especially when Spears was in such a marquee position just last summer. Clearly not there anymore. It's good creative. There's another company that would just simply say, we have nothing for you. Now they're just making the best out of a bad situation. Right now, we don't have anything for you, Sean Spears, not Sean Ross Sapp. I'm pretty sure creative has something for you, Sean.
WWE tells me that all the time when I ask him for interviews.
But they're keeping him alive. They're keeping his character going. We continue to have interest in what he's doing. So yeah, this makes perfect sense.
Speaking of WWE interviews, I interviewed EC3 today. That is going to be on Fightful Select Tier 2. Then it'll drop next week. We have a clip of it on Listing Ya Boy. Check it out. Jim Ross interviewed Jon Moxley earlier in the day. Moxley says he's not missing blood or guts. This is a good way to keep him on TV and not have him really doing anything. By the way, I just got a message sent to me saying that SmackDown is canceled. WWE will broadcast from the Performance Center this Friday. It's kind of what I meant when I said WWE could open themselves up to more Performance Center brawls. We'll talk about that briefly after this review. But Moxley, a pretty basic interview. But we go into Inner Circle against Hangman Page and Dustin Rhodes. I'll tell you what I love the most about this. We have seen on SmackDown and on AEW. A Canadian Destroyer hits, and it doesn't immediately get the pinfall. But the move right after it, they don't even go for one. Canadian Destroyer, then a splash, or then a clothesline, gets the pin. Ooh, I love it. I love that.
Yeah.
Give me that.
I mean, if you're going to use it as a transitional move, at least make it transition into the finisher, as opposed to it transitioning into a suplex. Yeah. I mean, this worked. I agree. This was a really, really good use of it. But man, there was a good use of Adam Page in this match again, Sean. My God,
man, for a guy that it was going to be hard for him to get over. I lump him and Britt Baker in similar spots, although categorically different, because Britt Baker, not that experienced, was the poster girl. Hangman Page, very experienced, the poster boy, and both had that uphill battle. And now look at where both of them are.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, Alex, this is so cool. And by the way, there was a big brawl. I mean,
yes.
We've talked about the brawl nonstop. I'm told this is culminating next week.
Yes. The big part of the brawl was that it came down that Jackson flipped off Adam Page like in the middle of the brawl, and then they both got taken out. The thing about Page is so interesting to me is I remember when we were talking about that first big title match, Jericho versus Page, and who should they put the belt on? Like, should they put it on the new guy and try to get him over and like ride with somebody that people might not be as familiar with, but isn't like quote unquote to the people who have detract from it? Oh, it's just an ex-WWE guy or whatever. But the fact that they chose to put it on Jericho, and that we really weren't sure what they were going to do with Page. Like honestly, that was a fork in the road for his career and his character. Like, this has been exceeded my wildest dreams for what they could do with that guy and make him a star in his own right that has nothing to do with that part of WWE, the Jericho title Moxley thing. Like, he's got his own thing over here, and it's so fascinating. I've been up and down on the whole alcoholism being a part of the storyline thing, but I think just the character work and the intrigue of him just being pissed at guys who are supposed to be his friends, that's all very interesting. He's doing fantastic work in and out of the ring. Kudos to Adam Page.
Warren, anything to wrap up this episode of AEW?
I actually like the brawl. I think it leads really, really well into next week, heading into Blood and Guts. It feels a lot more concrete tonight. Adds a nice, or at least reinforces this dissension that we are seeing within the elite, especially between Matt Jackson and Page. They're really underscoring it. It will have an impact in Blood and Guts, without any shadow of a doubt. Blood and Guts, which is essentially it's a war games. It's war games. So yeah, no, I really liked it. And man, Adam Page, man, he's one of the reasons I'm tuning into AEW, why I'm enjoying AEW so much. I didn't expect it, and I think that's what I enjoyed the most out of it all. Adam Page is a bona fide star for the company.
Yeah, if you all checked out Listing Ya Boy this after, or maybe it was List Goes On, whichever one we talked about Blood and Guts on, I kind of gave away what the rules would be. It is effectively war games. That was AEW. Sorry we kind of sped through this, guys. Other things going on, obviously, but you have no shortage of Fightful content this week. SmackDown moving to the PC. I've been told that they are considering this for a lot of future shows. We have a super chat. Chances of Mania being postponed. I would say the chances of it being altered are very good. Wrestlers that I'm speaking to say that they expect it, though they have not been told that. Aaron J's fan says, looks like I won't be going to WWE Toronto this Saturday. Unfortunately, maybe not. I hate that for you, buddy. I know you've been looking forward to that. Matt J. Hendricks said, so Brody Lee is the exalted one, right? It would make sense, right? I mean, where was the show tonight? In Utah? It's in Rochester it might be in Rochester next week.
It might not be anywhere next week.
Might be at the NWA studios. Everybody's going to be on a studio for weeks. And, I mean, at least they have that option. I mean, we're about to see some weird stuff. We're about to see basketball games played in front of nobody.
I mean, like, whenever they decide to resume the season.
Well, I mean, even NCAA this weekend's doing like nobody
that's true.
in front of nobody.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Which, as I mentioned earlier, no different for Kentucky fans. Now they just have to fall asleep at home instead of at courtside because all the 75-year-olds buy those seats. Man. Well, guys, leave a thumbs up. Make sure you subscribe. Tap that bell for notifications. Warren, tell the people where they can find you.
YouTube.com/Mr. Warren Hayes. I'll have my own recap show tomorrow evening, 9 p.m. Eastern. Come join me. Subscribe. YouTube.com/Mr. Warren Hayes.
Alexander.
You can follow me on the Twitter at Alex Sourgraps. I talk about main roster WWE twice a week on Tuesdays and sometime over the weekend. Who knows what's going to happen on Friday? Maybe since it's at the PC, it'll be good. Who knows?
Guys, thank you all so much. Until next time, we're out.